Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before I get to our guests here today, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoy this content, to please give a like and subscribe down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. We have Tracey Hodo on the podcast. She's coming to us all the way from New Jersey, as I like to call it, New Jersey, everyone, but I like to use that accent. She was featured in the New York Post in an article about her weight loss journey and just her journey into a healthy and fit lifestyle. Most importantly, though, she's our current guest. Tracey, thank you so much for being on.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely. So I got to ask first of all, because I ask this to every single guest, what is the weather like in New Jersey right now?
Well, actually, it's kind of strange. It's about 62, I believe. We're having a little bit of a we're having a little bit of a summer spurge here.
God, I hate. See, that's the one thing I hate about doing this podcast is that you realize how much better life is in so many other parts of the country, especially during the winter. I mean, it's 5 degrees here, and yeah, I'm not going to be going outside all day today. I'll be editing podcasts. I'll be doing everything. This is just one of those days where you curl up by the fire and drink some hot chocolate. Get a workout in. But yeah, 62. God, you better enjoy it after you're done talking to me. I mean,
I'm enjoying it. I need the sunlight. I love the sunlight. So
oh
this is working really well for me.
well, at least we got something going positive on this podcast. But before we depress everyone with my winter woes, why don't you give us a little bit of a backstory on what inspired and what motivated you to get in shape and adapt this lifestyle?
I what inspired me? I actually think that what it was is that I just wasn't feeling well. And I saw, I see people that were, fit and healthy. And I really, took a look at myself, took a look in the mirror, and I didn't feel good. Of course, I didn't like the way I looked. I mean, let's be honest, but I truly did not feel well, and I wanted to feel good again. I kind of lost my way, and I just, I'm a very good Italian cook, and I just kept on cooking and eating, and I really enjoyed that aspect of just feeding people and letting them enjoy it like I did as a kid. And then I realized, you know what, I can't eat like that anymore. So I said, you know what, it's time. And I actually wanted to be inspiring to other people. So I said, you know what, let's just start over.
Well, I gotta say, my grandma's maiden name is Gelat, so believe me, I know a lot about Italian cooking.
Yes.
We have I'm like we have that side of our family that's Italian. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can understand why
You
people
can
from Italy
understand?
might put on a little bit more weight because it's definitely worth it though with the type of food that they have over on that side of the family. That's the part of Christmas that I look forward to the most is getting that fresh Italian cooking that comes in. So yeah, I totally understand that. But when you were getting started, I mean, what was there a certain moment where you just said, "Hey, I really got to make this change"? Because a lot of people describe that they have that one moment where everything really seems to kick into place, where they just decide, "Okay, now's the time."
You know what? And that's exactly what happened. I wasn't feeling well. Um, I had some issues going on. I was going to my niece's birthday party. She was, I believe, turning 5 at the time. And they took a picture, and I do have this one picture. And I remember sitting on the couch, and I really wanted a picture with her. And I thought if I kind of sat sideways, and it looks really odd in the picture, and I thought if I like put my hand down and to try to cover, but when I look back at the picture, my arm looked this big because I was just very overweight. And I took a look at that picture and I said, you know what? I get a little emotional. I said, no, you can't turn 50. At the time I was 47. I was just about to turn 48, and I said, no, you got to do something. You got to do something for yourself, for your family. Just you need to change.
And now her arm's bigger than her waist, so I mean, it's the complete opposite. The complete opposite has happened, everyone. So she's able to turn all that around. Yeah, look at that. That's just unbelievable. So yeah, 50 years old. Are you kidding me? That's just insane. Being that, I mean, you had some surgeries, you had open heart surgery to help you achieve this weight loss. What was that experience like for you?
So yes, I didn't realize I had congenital heart disease. I found out when I was 35 years old. Fainted, turned blue. The whole 9 yards. They realized that I had, a hole in my heart and an aneurysm and atrial fibrillating. So it was a quick trip to, the operating room, and I had that. And then, unfortunately, after the surgery, I did still, I lost a little bit, but I still climbed up in the weight a little bit more. And you know what? Another thing that I said was, when I was looking at that picture, you know what? You don't want to reopen that scar because now you have heart disease, not congenital heart disease, but heart disease. So I said, it's time. It's time. But I made it through that surgery with flying colors. I don't take any medication for that. So I'm doing very well.
Oh, and that is so, and again, benefits of working out too is that it really does help with that. And we've had so many stories. I mean, we had a woman who has MS on, and her working out has really helped. It hasn't
Yeah.
stopped the MS, but it's made it slow down so that it's not getting any worse. So the benefits of working out are just so vast. But you also mentioned before we had the podcast that you had skin surgery, and that really helped you with your life. How did that impact you, and how has that continued to impact you?
Well, it really did impact me. I mean, let's face it, we live in a world, we all want to look good no matter how old we are. We want to be attractive, we want to be, we want to look good, we want to feel good. And so once I lost the weight, I had lost about 70 pounds. And being an older woman, having two children, yo-yo dieting, I think I counted. I think I tried probably 25 diets. I can name them all, and I just really needed to have some surgery, get the girls where they need to be, take care of the, some skin on the stomach. It's called a mommy makeover. I'm very open about it because I want other women, when they look at me, I want them to be really to understand really what's obtainable and what was me and what I had a little help from my friends. And it's okay, to just be open. And I just want them to know, like, listen, and men, I know lots of men that have the surgery as well. You know what? If it makes you feel good, you you feel better about yourself, that's going to change your mindset. Really, honestly, it's mindset. It was mindset from the beginning all the way through the end. It's really, how you feel. I met a wonderful doctor, Dr. Tutela. He's here in New Jersey, in Livingston. He was wonderful. He knew exactly what I wanted. I basically went in and said, you know what, Dr. Tutela, y- make me whole. Make me look like I would if I never, had all that weight to lose. Very appropriate for for myself. I wanted to look very appropriate for a woman my age. I was turning 50, and he said, you know what? I know exactly what you need and what to do, and I am completely ecstatic, with the results. So I'm very grateful for him. And it also helps me feel better about myself. It's almost like a snowball. You know what? I felt better. I actually felt better from the day that I actually started to change my nutrition. I hadn't lost an ounce, but that day I felt better. And I just took it in 5 pound increments. And, here we are. And it's been wonderful.
And that's such a great message to have, because especially in this day and age, even more so with all the technology where people look on Instagram and they always say, "Oh, I want his arms," or "I want her abs," or
Right,
people just want this unattainable physique that they don't realize you just have to do the best version of yourself. That's the one thing that you should be
right,
striving for. So I really appreciate that you're talking about that and spreading that message, because so many people don't realize, like you said, what goes into that look and what people do to get that look, where a lot of people
right.
just go in there blindly and then they get disappointed when they can't achieve that. But I always say too, whenever someone walks into the gym, if you were to walk into a gym with 100 people, there's 100 different ways as to how those people got into shape. I mean, whether it
Yes.
comes down to the diet, nutrition, how many reps they do, what exercises they do, so many little things add up to that overall package that people end up seeing. What was that experience like for you? Because if you were to walk up to someone, if you were to walk up to someone and say, "Hey, what'd you train for that body part? It looks amazing." What works best for them 99% of the time isn't going to work as good for you.
Right, right, and that is true. It's funny. It's actually, when I first started losing weight, I actually only could walk. So I would walk, and then I started walk running, and then I joined the gym. And I met a very special person in the gym. And it's funny, I met this wonderful person named JR. He actually witnessed my weight loss, and all at the time I didn't know how to do anything. So all I knew was, you know what, cardio. I was walking, and he said, you know what, come here, I want to show you something. He goes, you need to start to use the machines. So I he showed me one thing, and I started to use the machines. And he actually said to me something, and we can go back to that. He said, one day, Tracey, he goes, you're so inspiring. He goes, one day I'm going to look up and I'm going to say, I remember her when. And I'll tell you a little bit that when it in a moment. But he showed me what worked for him. And I did it. And then I went home, I YouTubed, how do you use the machines at Planet Fitness? And this guy popped up, and he had like 17 machines. And I just learned that way. And then um, like a month later, JR came up to me again and said, you know what? Now you need to learn how to use the free weights. So I picked up the free weights, did what he did, liked it. But it was, some things were good for me and some things weren't. And so I started to, again, YouTube, Instagram, and I just learned what worked for me. So I have some trouble in engaging my triceps. If I see somebody inspiring me at the gym, I might copy what they do. I might ask them, or again, I will go and research, and then I'll find that mind muscle connection, and I find what hits right, and then I just stick with it. And then, but I also like to try different compound movements and other things to see. But sometimes I always go back to the old faithful.
Yep. No, and it's again, it's always just like I always say, you're kind of like a mad scientist trying to make your own potion, and it's so much trial and error, and especially with this generation where people want everything now and they want it yesterday. Where this is not a lifestyle that you should get into for that, because it is just, it takes such a long and hard amount of time. But once you finally start to feel the groove of things, everything just becomes so much easier, and you really start to see the benefits. But you mentioned genetics before, because one of my favorite questions to ask, because everyone's genetics are different, like what we were talking about, where everyone wants that unattainable body because they're not that person. But whenever someone gets started in the gym, they always have that one body part that really takes off, and they always have that one body part that just lags behind, that they have to train to oblivion to get it to catch up. I mean, I'll give you mine first. My back, just because I had jobs all throughout college of working in warehouses where you either got a nice back or you quit. Those were the two options that were presented to you. But I'm also 6'3", so my legs and my lower body are just shot, where I mean, I have to train them into oblivion just to get it to look like any semblance. I mean, I always say calves for me. I could inject pure muscle into my calves and they wouldn't gain an ounce. I still have the friends that still say when I walk into the gym, oh, hey, Ryan, you plan on working legs anytime this year? And it's like, dude, you saw me train legs yesterday. Come on. But what were those body parts for you when you were getting started working out?
Well, what actually was easy for me is my shoulders and my arms.
We can see that.
I've been a hairstylist for 13 years in a shop, and the last 20 years I only do friends and family. But you know what? Those arms are blowing and going and teasing. So I got to be honest with you, and I also think it's genetics. So they are easily to build. But the one thing that kills me is my thighs and my cankles. So you'll rarely see me in shorts, let's put it to you that way, in the gym. But you know what? It's all good, and I'm thankful. But I try to work, the inner thigh. I don't have trouble with the booty, actually. Back in the 70s, it's really funny. When I was growing up, everybody wanted to look like Twiggy. I'm dating myself, but everybody wanted to be thin, and they would call, Tracey, you got a bubble butt. And I would cry. And now I'm like, all right, this is not so bad. 2020, you know what? I got it. That's the easy part for me.
God, doesn't it feel so weird saying 2020 though? Like, it seems like I remember just watching movies and kids where the movies were always set in the future, and it's like in the 2020s, and it's like, wow, we're actually there
Right,
now. But I can remember too, like even when I was growing up, I mean, I was born in '94, but there was still that sort of like that heroin chick look, like especially like with fashion, where everyone wanted to be so skinny and so toned. I
right.
I even remember in school people talking to girls and being like, oh my God, you have such a big butt, that's gross, or something like that.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
nowadays they would be, the most popular girl in the school right now. So
exactly,
I
exactly.
just find that so funny how things have changed and evolved as time has gone on. But I mean,
Right.
we were talking about this before we even started recording this podcast, that the nutrition aspect, I mean, you said it's like 85% of it, and I can agree with that, where it is by far so important, and so many people don't realize that one of the biggest struggles that I think people new in the gym go through is that they don't understand the importance of the nutrition, where they just think, hey, if I work out hard enough, I can eat whatever I want. So not true. But what would you say was probably the biggest nutritional change that you made once you really started getting into this?
Right. So the biggest nutritional change for me, and I had to be okay with it. I had to really accept it. I took a step back. I looked at my life throughout the years. I looked at everything that I ate, the traditional foods, and I really felt that, you know what, white flour, refined sugar, artificial sugars, boxed and processed foods was something that I just wanted to omit from my diet. And I wasn't really sure how realistic it was going to be, but I knew how I felt, and I knew I didn't feel well eating that in that way. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to make an oath. It was February 22nd. It was 4 years ago. And I said, you know what? I don't need this in my life. I actually, I love people that are moderators. I think that's great. I do best abstaining. So it's not really like what I'm eating in a sense, it's what I'm not eating. I also realize that I am gluten intolerant, so it all makes sense. I am a firm believer in, blood type. I'm O negative. That's another thing that, really tells like a story of, eating, protein and fats. I'm also an endomorph. I do a lot of reading, and I was curious, it was kind of backwards. Like it was working for me. And then why is this working for me? Let me look into this. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is why it's working for me. And like I said, I realized that I'm gluten intolerant. So this is how I was able to consistently lose weight, whether it was 5 pounds a month, I was able to get down to the weight that I liked. And it's funny, I have a picture too that I would like to show you one day. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, you look skinny. I'm like, I don't know if I like that. I said, that's when I started to lift. If I knew how to lift weights while I was just doing cardio, I surely would have done it, but I just didn't know. So, like I said, it was the nutrition that really carried me along the way. It's the exercise I feel that has really made me fit and healthy. So, that's the way I go these days. So I'm pretty much keto. You could say it's more it's not medical grade keto. It's more high protein keto. So I'm eating like more grams in protein than I am with the good fats, and keeping my carbohydrates 50 total or 25 net. And I will, if I'm bulking, then I'll, raise my caloric, my intake, or if I'm cutting, I'll cut down a little bit, but I kind of keep that ratio, which seems to really work for me.
And again, yeah, it's so great that you finally found that, because for so many people, they spend years upon years trying to find out that proper amount of nutrition, because it's just so different for so many people, and that's amazing. But a training technique that, I mean, I used it a little bit before I started the podcast, but then having all these guests come on and recommend it, I mean, I started using it, and it's just been wondrous. Is time under tension. Do you use a lot of time under tension in your workouts?
Yeah, yes, yeah, I do. I mean, I'm definitely a firm believer in, I really make sure that I choose the proper weight. For me, I, saw a cute little cartoon that, it has the muscle saying, I can do it, and the tendon and the ligament is kind of giving them obscene gestures. And I really do feel that that does, that is a factor. So yes, I like time under tension. I like the eccentric way of lifting. I'm definitely more in the rep realm of 10 10 reps to 12 reps. If it's too heavy and my form is going, I take it down. A lot of people say to me, well, oh my gosh, how much do you lift? I go, you know what, to be honest with you, I don't even know, because you know what, I just find the right weight. It feels good for that day. And I lift and I just enjoy it, and it feels good, and I feel engaged, and that's really, most important to me.
It's yeah, it's all about that feeling engaged too. Because so many people they focus too much on how much they can lift, and then they end up getting hurt because it's all about how much you can do, and then they don't realize that sometimes your body doesn't enjoy always constantly trying to just one up
Right,
itself. So yeah, just
right.
just finding what works. I mean, yeah, if I could spread that message more than anything else, out of all the messages that I spread, I mean that's a one up there too for anyone out there. Is just listen to your body too. A lot of people don't listen to their body too, and they might go working out when their body's telling them, "Hey, we actually need to take some rest now," because so many people don't understand that you're not meant to go and work out every single day. I mean, you have to have rest days. You have to do all that. So that's a whole podcast in and of itself of talking about that because that is just another very important part. But what was your family's reaction when you started to lose all this weight and started to get in really good shape?
They were very proud of me. I have 2 girls. I have 2 girls. The culture's a little bit different now. I have 2, 20-something-year-old girls, and they are used to the gym on the every corner. They are used to, the eating healthy. When I was younger, in my little bubble, it wasn't, food was love, and what you ate is what was on your plate, and you enjoyed it and you loved it. And I think I remember like Susan Powders, she was doing like step aerobics, but I was already like in my early 20s, so I didn't really like really grow up with that kind of regimen of really working out. So I wanted to make them proud, and I was very inspired by them. They were very proud of me. My husband is very proud of me. My mom, it's funny because my mom knows when I'm not happy, and she's obviously has been with me my whole life, and she knows what I look at, like, at different weights, and she was just so proud of me. So yeah, I had a lot of really nice experience with friends and family being very, very encouraging to me. And then they say that I inspired them, which is great. And I just wanted to go back to that little thing that I was telling you about my friend JR, who said, one day I'm going to look up with my I'm very flattered that my plastic surgeon has asked me to be on a billboard representing his business. So I called him up and I said, you know what, JR? I said, you remember a couple of years ago when you said one day you're going to look up and say you're going to see me? I said, you're actually going to have the chance. And I had chills, he had chills, and it was just really really, really wonderful. So I just wanted to put that out there because it's when you're saying, how do, are people proud? How do they feel about your weight loss? Like, he's somebody that's very special because he reached out to me and he didn't even know who I was. And he's been really instrumental in really encouraging me and really making me believe in myself. So, I have to just give him props to that.
Well, and having that support system, I mean, is such a game changer because we've had a lot of stories too where people might not have that support of a family and they just might be like, "Oh, okay, just do your thing." But having
Right.
that support is just such a game changer, and that's so great that you're going to be on a billboard. That's amazing. But you were also featured in the New York Post. How did that come to fruition?
So also too, it's funny because they reached out to me and they just said, I think somebody may have talked with my plastic surgeon, Dr. Tutela, and they really wanted to meet somebody and talk with somebody that had lost a lot of weight, that wanted to the article is really cute because it says more than swim deep instead of skin deep, and they wanted to talk about, like, you're almost 52, and would you like to be in a bikini again? And what, actually, I would like to wear a bikini, but it wouldn't have been possible without the surgery. And the other wonderful, beautiful ladies that were in the article with me, they had like life changing issues happen, and they were overcoming their medical issues or the things that they've been through. So yeah, it was really nice to say, you know what, hey, you know what, um, I was, very heavy, and I did lose the weight, and I did have the skin removal. And now, you know what, if I do choose to wear the bikini, I feel good about myself, and it looks good. And so it was just really nice that they, wanted to feature somebody that went through what I did.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And I'll leave a link to that article down below for anyone who's interested in it, because I mean, it's just so fascinating. But I I gotta ask, if you have you met people that knew you before when you were overweight and then meet you now? What is that reaction like that you get from people who haven't seen you since your transformation?
I have a great story for you. Great story. So every Friday, I would order pizza. And I would call up the one place down the street, and I would say, order my pizza for me and my family. We loved it. It was delicious. It was great. It was all the time. The same woman would drop off the pizza. This is hand to God. Same person, right? So I hadn't ordered pizza for a very long time. I was, working my regimen. The girls were out doing their thing. We changed our diet. I started to cook very clean at home. So one day we were having a little party, and I said, I'm going to order pizza. It was probably about a year after my weight loss. So the woman, same woman, brings it. So she walks up. I'm like, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Good, good. She goes, let me ask you. She goes, how long have you lived here? And I said, oh, I've lived here 24 years, 25 years. She goes, wait a minute. I go, you don't recognize me, do you? I mean, I'm telling you, it's emotional. And she goes, no. I said, I'm Tracy. You've delivered pizza to me every Friday for a year. She goes, oh my God. She goes, you look wonderful. You look beautiful. And it was, I mean, it was touching to me. Yeah, it was very nice.
Well, I can imagine that makes everything worthwhile. Just seeing those reactions, just knowing that, just that drastic change that you made, and that's, I mean, yeah, I would be so thrilled if that happened, and I mean, yeah, it just really goes to show that what all the hard work and dedication can do. Where, I mean, people don't even recognize you, and that's just that's just amazing. But we
Yeah,
just got
it's
oh yeah, and well, I was gonna say we just got done with the holidays. I mean, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, or New
right.
Year's Eve, Christmas Day. I mean, that is a for my family at least, being that I'm a mixture of Italian, Norwegian, where we just feast. It's just a big feast. I mean, everyone gains about 50 pounds just from eating just over those holidays. What has that been like since you've made this weight loss? Have you been Do you indulge yourself still in the holidays, or do you restrict it a little bit? What is your process like when it comes to eating during the holidays?
Well, actually, so I don't infringe my um, nutrition on other people. And I still enjoy cooking for my family. I enjoy watching them eat. We have very traditional foods. So, you know what? I'm kind of like the matriarch. I always like to cook. So I still make it all for them. But there's some things that I just don't eat. And you know what I say to myself? I said, you know what, Trey? You've had that food. You've enjoyed it for 50 years. It was good to you. It made you feel good. You enjoyed it. You're still cooking it for others who choose to eat it. But at this point in my life, I'm okay with just taking a step back, enjoying the prepping, enjoying the cooking. I actually bring my food most of the time. So and I actually enjoy the food that I eat. Like, I really enjoy the different combinations that I make. It's just a choice. Like, I feel like, it's a little bit of a different way of thinking. I'm eating more for physique than I am for eating for, what, it could be for anything. Maybe I ate for, the old times, or for enjoyment, or maybe at times maybe I was just comfort food. Whatever it was, it served me well. But now it's just time to move on. And it just seems like it's the right thing to do, because I'm able to have a very clear mind now. I feel now I can take on the day. I'm not lethargic. I actually got lethargic from eating the way I was eating prior. So now I could stay awake. I'm not clouded. I have energy. I feel good about myself. It's just like a snowball. So it just works well.
And that's so great because yeah, I mean, you'll enjoy the food when you're eating it, but then afterwards you feel like crap. So a lot of people just got to remember that too. But being that we are, 10 days or 11 days, I'm just a little foggy right now. Past New Year's, I mean, so many people have their New Year's resolutions, and I get sad when I see all those people because there've been studies that show, anywhere between 10 to 20% of people actually accomplish their New Year's resolutions when it comes to weight loss. So many people aren't able to accomplish it, and we've had so many trainers on that say, yeah, February, go to a gym. It's the most empty part of the entire year because all these New Year's resolutioners, they drop off. But what advice do you have for people that are just getting started maybe during New Year's, and by the time this comes out, they'll be a few weeks into New Year's and they'll hopefully still be sticking on. But what advice do you have for people to just keep holding on, because so many people struggle with their New Year's resolutions and actually maintaining them when it comes to weight loss?
I think, honestly, I do have something important to say. I think it's like a mindset. For me, I had to forgive myself for my shortcomings, let's just say, just, letting myself go or whatever it was. And then I had to accept myself and accept the time that it's going to take to lose the weight, that it's going to be a long haul, that it's not a race, it's a journey. And for me, there was no end. And if I took things more in yeah, smaller increments, it made it easier. So for me, it was walk an extra mile. Um, uh, you know, go 5 pounds, and eventually 5 pounds turned into 70 pounds. And then I always tell them, what, just give yourself time to get acclimated to your new regimen. Friends will ask, well, what do you eat? What do you do this? I goes, you know what? Why don't you try just maybe cutting out something and adding in something, once a week. My one girlfriend, I said, what, when you feel like snacking, what about wrapping up a pickle in it's so simple, in like turkey, just wrap it up. You got the salty, you got the crunch that may curb your snacking appetite. And you know what? She actually texted me. She goes, you know what? That saved the day. I lost 5 pounds in a week, and it really does make a difference. Start small, but keep your eye on the prize. Don't give up. It's not a race, and trust me, you will be so thankful if you just stick with it.
I cannot tell you the amount of times that we've had people on where they go in there guns blazing into the gym, and I mean they
Yeah,
tire themselves out after a week, and then their body's just dead and they can't do it anymore. So yeah, it's take your
yeah.
time. I mean, I've
Take your
had
time.
so many horror stories where they go into the gym and they work out for 3 hours the first day, and then it's like the next day they wake up and they're dead, and it's like, no, you can't. Your body, that's not how it works. Yeah, I've heard that so
Right,
many
right.
times.
Right, yeah, and that's what I say too. Like, we were discussed. She works. This one friend of mine, she works a lot. So I said, you know what? Let's just try to get the nutrition. Let's just get a new flavor of different healthy snacks or something. And trust me, I told her, you once you start to see some changes, whether it's a change in your mindset, maybe somebody noticing something, maybe you do have time to work out. Maybe you will maybe forego maybe I don't know, whatever you're doing throughout the day. Maybe you don't go shopping. Maybe you don't clean that one portion of the house. Maybe you decide to, just go for a leisurely walk. And I always say that don't burn yourself out. I actually choose to go to the gym every day, but I tell my friends and family and whoever asks, I go for the mindset. I don't work out hard every day. I might go for 15 minutes, stroll, do Instagram or something on the treadmill. But for me, just getting up, driving there, going, it just makes me feel good, and I really enjoy it. So I probably work out, you know, 5 days a week where I just have like a true regiment. The other days I do maybe abs or just, kind of walk. And that seems to be a good balance for me.
being that you are 50 years old, not many 50-year-old women look like you do. I always say if you walk out in public, if you're dressed the way that you are now, I mean, you are going to get stares. You sort of become like a mini celebrity, I always like to say, where everyone's going to, like look at your arms or just look at, just how great you look. What has that been like for you, just dealing with the fact that, I mean, probably when you were overweight, you didn't get, or you might have gotten stares, but they might be for a different purpose. But now that you're getting stares where it's people are just like, oh my God, that looks amazing. What has that been like mentally to adjust to that for you?
Well, it was a lot. I have to, honestly, it was. It's it's really funny. One of the body parts that I really did not like when I was heavy was my arms. And there's still a little something there. You can't really erase everything. Um, so it really went from feeling very embarrassed of my arms. In the summer, I didn't want to show them, but in the winter, I couldn't really fit them into the clothing. So it really was a problem for me. And now people will say, well, I want arms just like you. So, it's really funny, and I'm very appreciative, and it makes me feel so good. But I also remember the days where, I didn't want anybody to notice my arms. So I just have, oh my gosh, just love and appreciation. I feel flattered. I feel very good about myself at the same time. And I like to give it back. So if somebody, I feel my main thing is if I don't give it away, I feel like I'm going to lose it myself. So if somebody says, I like your arms, I want arms like you. And I'll say, you know what? I can share with you, different things, that I do for myself. I could share with you my nutrition. I can share with you my different tricep, exercises and whatnot. And I always tell them, and I always remember that, what, this is may seem cliche, but you know what? I'm thankful I do have these arms. These arms, performed beautiful hairdos, made people feel beautiful, my whole life. And I just want them to know that, what, you may not like them now, but you can do something about it, and you could be the best that you can be. And I always tell them, listen, I'm not perfect. I had a little help from my friends. I also let them know that as well. So, as far as the surgery and such, but I want them to know, what, I want to say, if I can do it, you can do it too. And I'll be your biggest fan, and I will cheer you on. And I let them reach out to me all the time. You know what? I'm an open book.
And you led me perfectly into my next question, because I did a poll right before New Year's on my podcast Instagram page of what's one body part that everyone's looking forward to improving over the next year, and I had arms, abs, legs, and butt and back, and arms won by like 20%. Everyone wants them. So what do you train for your arms to get them to look like that?
Well, I do a lot of different tricep exercises. Again, like I said, I have this. Sometimes I just have a hard time of really engaging. I found a few exercises that really seem, to work for me. I love 21s. I like the cable rope pull downs. I actually stand with my back and have it in front of me. That seems, it's so simple. Most people stand in front. I stand with my back, with it in my back, and I do it in the front. And that, for some reason, just really, you could just feel, the difference. So I'm always looking for something that if it feels good for me, I will continue to do it. I don't mind trying. Oh, I like trying something new, but I usually stick with something that it's that mind muscle connection. And sometimes I also, might look in the mirror, and I might, just kind of feel it first. Flex a little bit first, get the blood pumping, and then it just seems okay, let's do this. And it seems to really work. Again, though, it has to be the right weight. And lots of times I see myself, pulling back a little bit on the weight to really fully form the movement so that I can engage the different, muscles.
And again, trial and error. We've been preaching this the whole podcast, and I couldn't say it enough too, especially with finding out. But yeah, there's so many different ways that people have found that, just to work different body parts. So that's why I love bringing up that question. But If someone were to come up to you and say, Tracy, you can change one thing about the health and fitness lifestyle and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing that you'd like to see changed?
Change the health and fitness lifestyle. Um, I'm not really sure. I do know that I want to, like, my main goal is to reach out to men, women of any age, but of age, that are older, who feel that they can't get to where they want to be, or they feel that it's, that it's unattainable, or that they feel that they don't have enough time. I tell different friends that, what, my house is clean, but it might not be as clean as it was, years ago, because something's got to give. So in order to get what you want for yourself, you might have to let some things go in, like, different areas. So the health and fitness, I mean, I do see, men and women, older, really pushing it, and really, like, trying to get fit and healthy. There's one thing that I would like to say, though, is I would like to see some clothing lines for the men and women that are a little bit older. It would be nice to you know have a line that maybe features the mature woman, or the mature man. That, I think, that maybe in more in the in the industry of the workout clothes, maybe.
I've always said that as well, and I also say too, if there would just be a stop being like new diets every second, new training methods every second, because it always seems like you spend one day in the gym, there's gonna be 1,000 new ways that people are preaching about how you can do stuff. It really mixes up a lot of people's heads. I think when they just realize, like, oh, do it this way, do it that way, or here's this new diet that just came out, and then they try that for a day, and then, oh, another diet just came out that's even better. Just, I think it brings a lot of confusion. So just maybe just, I mean, there are a lot of things that work for a lot of people, but it's so hard for people to really concentrate on what they really want then, if there's just so many things being thrown at them constantly on what they should do. So
Right.
maybe just
Right.
to slow that down a little bit. But if we were to talk to you a year from today, where would you like to be at in your life? What are some goals that you'd like to have achieved?
I am so glad you asked. So, I would absolutely love to be an accountability coach. I am actually working towards that now, getting a few certifications under my belt. I really feel that I have something to offer, being obese, having a major, surgery, going through this skin surgery, the mommy makeover that I had. I really want the whole. I actually, I was alone pretty much, so I held myself accountable. That just, it took a lot of work. I would love to just take that little piece and work with someone, and help them with the tools, and maybe discuss, maybe how they're feeling, and what they can, apply to their individual needs. And in 10 years from now, I would love to have a whole bunch of people that I've, helped get fit and healthy, to feel really good about themselves. And, fit and healthy is really a wide spectrum. You don't have to look like me, or you don't have to look, you know, um, like, this muscle woman or this muscle man. I feel fit and healthy is also a mindset. And if you feel good about yourself, it's just really going to make your world, so much better. So, yes, I would like, hopefully in 10 years, I will be an accountability coach, and I could be, helping everyone out there.
That's so awesome. And to add on to that, I mean, I've had some of the most in shape people on the planet on the podcast, and they might not be happy about themselves. They might not like their physique or their health and fitness. And just because you're in shape doesn't mean that it's going to solve all your problems. You have to adjust that mental aspect first, which is the number one thing that, if I can preach on this podcast, is that if you go into it with the wrong mindset, it doesn't matter how great you look, you're not going to feel good about yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I said, fit and healthy could be, you know, anything that you want it to be. So if you have certain goals and you want to reach those goals, I want to be the person to be right there with you because I know what it's like. I know sometimes it can feel isolating, even when you have the book or the meal sent to you or, the personal trainer waiting for you. I want you to know, you know what? I understand mentally how you feel, and I want to help you, have those tools, talk about it. Let's work it out and let's, get you on your way. And you know what? Like I said, even like when I first started, I felt great the moment I started. And I want everybody to feel that good because when you feel that good, knowing that you are going to make this change and you have accepted yourself and you forgave yourself and you are looking forward to the future, it's endless. It just feels good the whole ride, and I want everyone to feel the same way.
Absolutely. And before we wrap things up, do you have anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to?
I just want to thank all my friends and family that have been there for me, that are encouraging me. I love my friend JR. He's been really wonderful. Of course, my wonderful surgeon, Dr. Tutela, who has really helped change my life. I really feel that we together have really made me who I am. I want to thank my husband, my children, my parents. I'm really, thankful for everyone that has, really helped me and encouraged me, throughout my journey.
And that's awesome. And everyone, go and give her a follow on her Instagram page down below. I'll leave a link to it. And lastly, is there any piece of advice that you have for someone who might be going through some weight struggles and is just looking for that motivation to get started?
Yeah, I do. I do have something to say. I really want them to know that anything really is possible. Give it a go. Do your best. Don't be too hard on yourself. One day turns into another, and trust me, you'll look back and you'll thank yourself. You will thank yourself that you feel and look better because let's be honest, we all want to look better, but there is nothing better than mentally feeling good about yourself. And if I could give that little piece of good feeling of saying, it's okay. It's okay where you are. It's okay to be at the beginning. It's okay what you've done and what you tried and how you failed. It's okay. Now's the time to just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep educating yourself, keep listening to your body, keep understanding that one thing for someone might not be good for you, and just keep moving forward and you will get there. You will get there.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I couldn't think of a better way to end it. Tracy, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I mean, I really appreciate it, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate you as well.
Thank you. And again, you guys, go and give her a follow on Instagram. You'll be inspired. And this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing out. Have a great day, everyone.